see that handsome fellow running for his life? That is me.
They just can't get my nose right.
Hello, welcome to Premiere Scene. I'm Bueno. We are here for the UK Premiere of Tangled, celebrating Disney's 50th animated film.
And that tower? Well, in that tower, there lived a girl who was just waiting for her life to begin. We really hit it off. How you doing?
As an animator yourself, how has 3D helped you? Does it give you more freedom?
Well, you know, I do see myself as an actor with a pencil, and I express myself with a pencil. I didn't know that there was actually a way for an animator like myself to work in CG. But that's been the wonderful thing, is that at Disney we've developed tools for a guy like myself to influence the look of a CG film. And even though I don't know how to, and well, I spent a day animating on the computer, and it was like, whoa, this is like impossibly difficult. How do you guys do it? But I quickly realized that me not animating on the computer, but animating by pencil, because I would animate and show them what I wanted it to be, was a really honest way of saying, I don't care how hard you have to work, but we got to have it look like this, you know, and because I know how hard they work, and sometimes they work so hard and it's still not there yet, and you need somebody who's a little bit outside of that zone to say, no, we can still go further, you know, and I was that voice.
And 3D as well has been used, has it got to be used rather, as a tool to enhance the audience experience rather than take over, really?
Yeah, we wanted the CG experience to invite you in. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, I would do a drawing. And I would do a drawing not to just do a drawing. I did a drawing so that I could enter into the paper. You know, it was like I would do a drawing of a dinosaur so I could live in the world of dinosaurs. CG is a perfect medium to do a 3D effect with and allow the audience to just step in and believe it. And it doesn't always have to be jumping out at you. It's just a reminder that this is a real, once upon a time, this really happened. You just step into it. There's places where Rapunzel throws her hair out and it falls down right towards the audience, or these thousands of lanterns float out and you can reach out. The kids want to reach out and touch them in the theater. That's a great experience. But I think we want it to be used by the story, you know, to be used at the right moment.
How challenging was Rapunzel's hair? Am I correct in saying you had to develop software for it?
Yeah, we've actually been working 6 years on figuring out how to animate 140,000 individual hairs. I mean, it's like herding cats. Every hair has got its mind of its own, and sometimes we would animate Rapunzel and her hair, she would turn, and we'd want the hair just to flow nicely over, and it would bang, go away. It was like, we're never going to get this movie done. How are we going to control this? But I discovered that at Disney, you not only have artists that draw with a pencil or animate on the computer, you have artists that think mathematically, that think writing in code, and for years have been solving problems of controlling that hair. It's a phenomenal blend of different talents that actually came together to make this movie.
Gentleman that I am, I decided to help her.
I'm prepared to offer you a deal.
She could not resist me.
I didn't want to have to do this, but you leave me no choice. Here comes the smolder.
Have you been very conscious about keeping the classic Disney film as well as giving it a modern twist?
Definitely, yeah. No, Nathan and I are huge fans of classic Disney. That's why we work where we work. Nathan's worked there for about 15 years. I've worked there for about 16. And we love our legacy. We love these great films that were made in the 40s and 50s. Peter Pan, Sleeping Beauty, Cinderella. So you'll see a lot of influence in Tangled. And so it's great because you have this great nostalgia in the film, but also we're huge fans of modern, exciting filmmaking. We love, Born Identity in the Bond films, and we love, Schindler's List, and we love emotional films, and you'll see all of that as well. And the response it's been getting around the world has been huge, and we're so proud of our crew and what they've accomplished, and some human animation like you've never seen before.
And I believe you actually acted out the parts as well for the animators, didn't you?
We did, yes. our process of when we were doing this, we were asking the animators to really animate from the inside out, and we wanted real emotion in this movie. We wanted real acting, and not kind of, sometimes you watch an animated film and it's very like stock kind of cartoony acting. We didn't want that. We wanted this to be a film that emotionally, kind of grabbed you and really made you feel something. And that's something that I think is a huge compliment to us is audiences are walking out of this movie saying, they really laughed, but they cry. I mean, they get choked up throughout the movie. It's a pretty amazing thing.
Disney said, didn't he, for every laughter, there should be a tear. You've obviously been conscious of that philosophy.
That's absolutely right. That's a great guide to making films. You see it with our film, you see it with Pixar films, and that's why I think people want that. People want the whole experience. They don't just want to go in and laugh the whole time. If you can actually touch their hearts, then it means something far into the future, and people will actually come back to the experience again and again.
The animators, when you acted your parts out, just briefly going back to that, am I correct in saying that they then drew you from those on the computer or by hand?
Well, we would get up in front of the room, so they would show their scenes. The animators, you work in like sort of a small theater. The animators project their scenes up on the screen, and we'd get up there and we'd be like, "That's great. But what if it was more like this or that?" And we'd actually, become the characters, and we'd do the smolders, and we'd do all that stuff. We'd really put on a show. We're not afraid to look stupid if it makes the final product better. So, and we look stupid a lot. So, but the movie's great because of it.
And before we knew it, we began to uncover some secrets.
I have to know what they are.
I mean, this is serious stuff that just might turn this kingdom upside down.
Flynn?
The voice of Rapunzel. What a great challenge, hey? And she certainly gives Flynn a run for his money.
Yeah, I get to portray a Disney princess, quote unquote, in sort of a classic, the 50th animated Disney film. But she's not the damsel in distress waiting to be rescued by the prince. She actually has some moxie. She's feisty. She's not waiting for someone to take her on this adventure. She's the one that wears the pants and is in charge and ends up rescuing the guy more often than not. So I liked portraying a female character that I think is a good role model for young girls.
And what could you learn about the craft of acting by playing in animation?
It was a challenge because when doing an animated film, you don't get to work or interact with any of the other actors. Everything sort of just has to come from you, from your imagination, your gut instinct. It was sort of crazy making a little bit because you're just talking to yourself in an empty room, but it was good fun, and I was lucky to have two directors that were willing to read some of the scenes with me just to understand the flow of what was really happening. But again, there's nothing to look at either. There's no visual, there's no finished animation or pictures to have some point of reference. Everything really has to be conjured up in your own head.
And did you get to meet any of the animators? And if so, did you see any of the characteristics in Rapunzel of yourself?
I did. I was lucky enough to get to meet some of the animators and go up to the animation department. It is mind-boggling how much work it takes to get a movie like this made and put together. Years and years. I think there were over 300 people working on this movie at any given point. But when you're actually doing the voice acting, there's a camera on you all the time in the booth. And I figured initially, that must be behind the scenes footage they're trying to get while we're working. But in fact, it was to show the animators. So when they were animating to the voice, they could sort of see what you were doing, what your physicality was. So when I saw the finished movie, I did see bits and pieces of myself, and it was very jarring, because it's not me, it doesn't look like me, it's my voice. But then I would see some motion or some way that Rapunzel would move, and I completely saw myself in it. Weird.
And finally, what does it mean to you to be a part of now Disney history?
Incredible. I mean, I grew up watching these films. I grew up in Orlando, going to Disney World all the time. So I feel like oddly Disney's always been in my life. Maybe it's in my blood somehow. So it's very full circle in that sense. But I know this is a project that I am endlessly proud of and now can have in my pocket from here on out. I'm really proud to have that.
Something brought you here. Fate, destiny.
A horse.
Tangled is a story of adventure, humour, heart, hair, and lots of hair. I'm Bueno, signing out for Premiere soon.
Let down your...